You'll see many new faces in Remnant 2, with one of the most tragic being the Drzyr on the planet of Narud. But what happened to these people and their world, where all that's left are wandering infected, hostile robots, and deadly arthropods? Since Remnant 2 is procedurally generated, the world events provided are random, but I believe I have a solid timeline of what happened, and I'll try and explain everything as best as I could. The Drzyr are an advanced people who mastered matter and energy and decided to search for a new life on other planets. To accomplish this, they constructed Narud, which was developed with technology to traverse the stars and sustain everyone on it. The project was led by Primus Astropath, who conveyed that the reason for this expedition was simply to find out if they were alone. Astropaths in this world are incredibly intelligent Drzyr that far exceed any computer that the species have ever made. This will be important later, so it's important to set up who these people are. Despite thousands of years of searching, the Drzyr found nothing until they came across what they believed to be the seed of creation and the center of the universe they named Alepsis-Taura, which is a massive black hole. This is where the infighting started with the Drzyr. Some wanted to enter the black hole Alepsis-Taura, making the calculations that Narud would survive the journey in hopes of discovering ancient knowledge and where all life began in the universe. However, some decided against this. Primus Astropath was one of these people, along with another Astropath, Tal Ratha, but they were overruled by their leaders, who are called the Seekers, with their creation, the Custodian, who is made leader of the project because it made the calculations. This was because the Seekers wished to discover where they came from. Those who opposed this idea sealed themselves off in chambers that would be protected from the event horizon of Alepsis-Taura, which in turn would spell their own doom. The course was set, but unfortunately what they did not calculate was time. Crossing the event horizon, the Drzyr found out that only after 100 years within Alepsis-Taura, the entire universe had died. What's left is nothing more than a necropolis, with those sealed inside those chambers experiencing the full death of the universe through time, as opposed to those who were exposed to Alepsis-Taura's event horizon. Now, it's never really explained where the arthropods came into being, but my guess is that they are a highly advanced version of the insect life that's within this world, and simply evolved after consuming the flesh of what's left of the Drzyr, as we see thousands of life pods all over the place, along with their bodies being filled with the same poison and attacking anyone who gets too close. The robotic life that we see is also likely servants of the Drzyr, who just wander the landscape, serving the same beings that are now dead or just rotting corpses on the floor. We are a foreign being, thereby they see us as a threat, but it would explain why all the Drzyr are not being attacked by these robotic creatures. They simply see them as their masters. This is where we come in, unfortunately. With the help of the Custodian, he wants to pull Narud into Alepsis-Taura to save the Drzyr, as there's no other course of action. The universe has died, and this is all he has left to save what's left of the Drzyr. One way is to hope to reverse the process of having it give life instead of absorb it, but regardless, they seek to understand it, since they believe it confirms that all life comes from order instead of chaos, but obviously it's a last-ditch effort to save what's left of the Drzyr to time. My guess is that they also want to push time forward as fast as they can, hoping that there will be a large reset similar to Futurama. There are also several ways the story can continue forward. The first involves taking control of the core of Narud for the Custodian. During this journey, you can find out the fate of Primus Astropath. After sealing himself away along with fellow supporters into life pods, they eventually went mad, either through time or the toxic sludge that now fills their planet from the arthropods that now rule the planet, requiring you to put him down as fellow survivors, showcasing that these spectral creatures that you encounter throughout Narud are actually surviving Drzyr who have gone mad and simply attack anyone and anything. To enter the core, we have to locate what remains of the Seekers. Here, we come face to face with the core of Narud. The player has two choices here. The worst choice is to locate the override pin. With the pin, we learned that the Custodian actually turned on the Drzyr in the past, but now likely is on their side. It's unsure what exactly happened, but to prevent another one of their creations from turning against them, they designed some fail-safes, such as this override pin for the Guardian of Narud, which can be summoned 2 ways. With the override pin, you can free the creature in its entirety, and it breaks through the core and uses a powerful magnetic orb to attack. Called Shalhala, once killed, the creature loses control of the core and causes the death of Narud through a massive explosion. The reason it attacks, I believe, is through Alepsis-Taura. It also went mad, similar to the Astropaths, after being alone for so long. The second option is to shut down the core, causing a spectral version of the creature to attack. Likely this is a failsafe or a defense mechanism, resulting in the Custodian taking control and piloting the ship into Alepsis-Taura. After 12 hours, we can head actually into Alepsis-Taura and find out that all that is left of Narud is a single recording from Primus Astropath. This journal is dated before they found Alepsis-Taura, the black hole, and thousands of years into their journey. How they had all the time in the world to locate life, but they were wrong about that. They only had as much time as they were given. Now we come to the other story, and this one is far more grim. Despite thousands of years passing, Tal Ratha was also one of the leaders who led the journey, has remained alive somehow thanks to something called the Ambit Amber. He finds it shocking that you, of all people, are here because they spent thousands of years looking for life, and then suddenly you just appear in front of him. He insidiously conveys how he needs your help, and he wants you to locate the Seeker Souls and bring them to him. However, you can find a document that he left behind conveniently, showcasing how he planned to preserve his people, but in a very insidious way that he doesn't get into, but only allows one of them to meet him at a time. So it's something very daunting and is rather sickening. In this narrative, the Custodian has gained access to the core without our help, but requires the echo of Tal Ratha. Without the essence of an astropath, he won't have the necessary process and power to navigate the route to Alepsis-Taura, which is still his primary goal in this narrative. He needs to pilot the ship to Alepsis-Taura in hopes of saving the Drzyr, whereas Tal Ratha has his own plan. When face to face with Tal Ratha, we see that he's become a mutated monster. Believing to be a living ark, he consumed many of his people to be part of his body. Here you have 2 options: refuse and force Tal Ratha to try and consume you, or allow him to eat you and face him in the metaphysical plane. The reason he wants to consume you is because you're a rare form of life, something that his people have been spending hundreds of thousands of years to try and find, and here you stand before him. If he doesn't consume you, he feels like life will be wasted, and you'll simply be consumed by Alepsis-Taura. Regardless, doing so will result in the same thing, with you obtaining the essence and Tal Ratha being killed, allowing you to give the Custodian the option to take the route into the black hole. So let's summarize what exactly happened here. The Drzyr, reaching the apex of their biological and technological evolution, created Narud, a spaceship to search for other life to find out if they're alone in the universe. They discovered Alepsis-Taura after thousands of years, a giant black hole they considered the progenitor of life and death in the universe. In hopes of discovering its secrets, some of the Drzyr wanted to enter Alepsis-Taura and others did not. Those who didn't choose to enter decided to seal themselves in special chambers that shielded them from Alepsis-Taura. Those who did enter were exposed to the full effects of the black hole. The Custodian, who made the calculations, did not take into consideration how time would flow in Alepsis-Taura. They entered the event horizon for 100 years, only to return and find out that the entire universe's lifespan had been exhausted. Those shielded were now dead and turned into walking corpses by poisonous lifeforms that now rule, and the astropaths became spectral monsters. With no option left, the Custodian believes that the only way to preserve the Drzyr is by entering Alepsis-Taura, either by accelerating time again to the point where life returns, or finding a way to reverse the process of it consuming life. That, or you destroy everything by killing the Guardian and causing a magnetic explosion to just consume Narud. Either way, it's a very dark story about the end of the universe in this world and any hopes of preserving what life is left. With that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. Remember to like, comment, share. If you want to join my channel or provide the super thanks donation, those are available below. I also have a Patreon. You can follow me on Twitch. Every bit of support helps me a great deal. I want to thank Devil Killer and White Devil for joining my channel. They are currently the 2 members of my channel. I'm looking to expand as much as possible. Every little bit helps, and just simply watching the video to the end does help a great deal. Till next time, thanks for joining me. Remember to check out my Remnant 2 videos, including my review where I 100%ed the game and gave my takes on whether it's worth it or not. Till next time, thanks for joining me. Goodbye.
Ocean. If even one other such mote exists, it will take a great deal of time to find. And for the purposes of this endeavor, time is our friend.